Hello, sports fans, and welcome to episode 1 of Glass Half Full. What is Glass Half Full? Well, we're a sports advisory program that will be providing weekly betting picks not limited to any one sport but focusing mainly on the wonderful game that we call football. American football, that is, at both the professional and collegiate levels. Consider us a compass, a navigation system of sorts that is here to guide you to a very eventful and financially profitable season. Our mission to win. The catch? No catch. Only one condition, and that is that you stick with us from week 1 through to the championship games in the new year. And the best part of our show is we'll be giving you our picks for no cost. That's right, folks. No gimmicks here, no scams or schemes. Our picks to you. The fee, it's free. And all that we ask in return of this price is to give us your views, and please give us your likes. Our system is tactical, structured, precise. We'll tell you who to bet on, when, how much, and why. With reasons to justify, reasons to back, why we bet what we bet. It's far more than a knack. You see, we know these leagues. We know the teams and their players. We understand the connection that sports betting has to the fields of mathematics, statistics, and basic human nature. We know how to properly analyze records, rankings, home crowd advantage, weather, scheduling, trends, injuries, and more. Desperation, momentum, motivation. You see, all of these factors contribute to helping anticipate the future and react to it accordingly. And while luck may be a deciding factor in the outcome of any single game, and will inevitably go against us on occasion, it will always balance out in the long run, and justice will prevail. And to those of you who think it's merely a game of luck, I ask you this. Would you call a fisherman lucky who for years so studied the fish that with each changing wind he could cast his nets about them? Opportunity is a haughty goddess who wastes no time with those who are unprepared, and I assure you the gambling gods are no different, so we stay prepared, ahead of the curve, on our toes and ready to pounce, but only when appropriate opportunities present themselves. We watch with patience, practicing discipline and well-timed aggression, protecting our money always, but prepared to put it at risk when we see fit. And only with confidence, never with fear, because he who says he can and he who says he can't are both correct. And remember, this game is a marathon, not a sprint. It's no get-rich-quick scheme, it's a grind. So we manage our bankroll, but it's up to you to follow along and do the same. We'll be starting our season off with a $100,000 stack, having one unit be equivalent to $1,000. If your starting stack is $10,000, consider a unit $100. To a $100 stack, $1 per unit, and so on. Got it? Good. Now, getting things underway with our Week 1 picks, the first game we'll be betting on is the matchup between Cleveland and Pittsburgh. For the first time in quite some time, Cleveland has a viable starter at the quarterback position with Tyrod Taylor leading the charge behind a rather stout offensive line. Look for Taylor to use some of his weapons against a very poor Steelers defense exploiting dynamic weapons like Jarvis Landry in the slot. Also look for a big day for Mr. Hyde running against an overrated Ryan Shazier-less Steelers defense that hasn't been able to stop a nosebleed since his departure. The Le'Veon Bell signing drama could only be serving as a distraction, and Pittsburgh also tends to struggle as sizable road favorites. In fact, this same matchup took place in Week 1 last year when the Steelers escaped with a narrow 3-point victory as nearly 10-point favorites. With what just may have the makings of a seemingly unlikely shift of energy inside the division, look for the progressing Browns to upset the degressing Steelers. We'll bet 2 units on the dog pound plus the 5.5. Next, we'll be looking at the San Francisco 49ers traveling to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. San Francisco is getting 6 points in this game, and I believe that number is a bit too high. The 49ers finished off last season on a tear, winning their final 5 games, averaging just shy of 29 points per contest over that stretch. The Vikings seem to be having a not-so-good summer, and a recent injury to guard Nick Easton surely hasn't helped matters at all. It appears as though their offensive line is in shambles, with Easton sidelined, Joe Burger retiring, both Pat Elflein and Mike Remmers nursing injuries, and legendary coach Tony Sperano tragically passing away this offseason. May his soul rest in peace. While it will be interesting to see how the $84 million man fares in his first start since the big signing, it is worth noting that Jimmy Garoppolo sports a perfect 7-0 straight-up record as an NFL starter. San Fran just may win this one outright, so we'll take the 6 points also for 2 units. Thirdly, we'll be betting on the Denver Broncos as 2.5-point home favorites versus the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle comes into town looking like a shell of their former selves, and now without one of the greatest strong safeties to ever play the game. Cam Chancellor, the legendary enforcer, announced his retirement this offseason as his career was unfortunately cut short due to a tragic neck injury. The once-upon-a-time Legion of Boom defense looks nothing like it once did, and when you factor in the Earl Thomas drama and Doug Baldwin's aching knee, Seattle looks like they've entered into full rebuild mode. While the Broncos aren't exactly Super Bowl favorites this season, I believe that the home crowd, thin air, a hungry bowling ball Royce Freeman, and an out-to-prove-himself Case Keenum will be enough to start the season off with a win. Look for the Seahawks' miserable 0-4 preseason to spill into an 0-1 start. We'll side with the home team minus the 2.5 points for 3 units. The last game we'll be betting on is the clash between Carolina and Dallas. The home team Panthers are short favorites to the tune of 2.5 points, which seems oddly low considering the circumstances. Despite some unfortunate offseason injuries, this Panthers squad looks like it could heal up and be a real, not-so-sneaky Super Bowl contender. Norv Turner is meant to bring an upside to the Panthers coaching staff, and with a healthy Cam Newton, C.J. Anderson, Christian McCaffrey trifecta, this offense could really do some damage. The Cowboys, on the other hand, continue a 2-year soap opera starring running back Ezekiel Elliott, who is still anticipating word on his upcoming suspension. And to make matters worse, Travis Frederick was recently lost to injury indefinitely with a rare nerve disorder that will sideline him for some time. This is horrible news, and we wish him all the best in his recovery. Travis is arguably the league's best player at his position, and while it would be wonderful to watch the legend play football again, his health and fight against this disease is what's in our prayers. Speedy recovery, old chap. Let the food be thy medicine. Coconut and CBD oils, ormus, lots of leafy greens, and a hydrated alkaline diet would only be beneficial. Factor in a very poor 0-4 preseason for the Cowboys, averaging an abysmal less than 11 points per game, and I'll be damned if road-bound Dallas can pull off a win amongst a hostile Carolina crowd. The price seems right with the Panthers spread to me. 4 units, please, our top play of the week. And just in case we happen to catch the perfect Week 1 storm, we're going to sprinkle some minimal action on a teaser and a parlay. We'll be betting a half unit on a 9-team, 6.5-point teaser that pays 14-1, and a half unit on a 7-pick parlay that pays 49-1. And do note that our parlay has both fixed and alternated spreads. Thanks to our very friendly and flexible modern-day sportsbooks, we can tailor our bets to cross over some key football numbers for just a short fee. Sometimes it's the smallest margin that can make the difference between winning and losing. And for those of you in Survivor contests and pick'em pools, pause this video before it ends to view our full Week 1 predictions. In closing, I'd like to leave you with this. It's not whether the glass is half empty or half full. It's who is pouring the water. The key in business and success at any endeavor is doing your best to control your destiny. You can't always do it, but you have to take every opportunity you can to be as prepared as and ahead of the competition as you possibly can be. Now, let's get this party started with no further ado. Happy betting to all, and we'll see you Week 2. Cheerio!
Good luck.